Hey there, everybody. Cholera with Rise and Dignity, of course, and we're going to be doing Game 5 here, the ace matchup of Samson Khan versus KTF. Both teams have fielded very good players, and both are going to be fielding some of their best. Again, Flash is going to be playing for KTF, and Jangbi is going to be playing for Samson Khan. Jangbi managed to win his game, Flash did not, but, Luxury has been doing horribly recently, so Luxury not even going to make an appearance here, and it looks like Flash is going to be the one who has to hold up the shield here for KTF. I'm actually a little surprised that 4GG has been pretty much MIA, as far as I know, for a while. Didn't see him in this series. Haven't really seen him much, but of course he is the newest addition to the KTF team. And maybe they're busy tinkering with his brain, overclocking his processors. What do you guys think about that?
I have no idea. Yeah, they brought in 4GG and they're like, "Oh, we got 4GG, we got so many awesome players," and then they just never field them. I don't. Also, where's Luxury been for a bit here? I feel like
He's
Luxury's been
1 and
kind
8
of. Yeah.
since
Well,
the
I don't know.
NSL.
Still, whatever. I still think he just needs to get out there and do whatever. Anyway, the one thing I'm surprised in this ace match is that they're fielding Flash versus Jangbi on Destination. I believe this map is going to be on Destination. If I looked it up, yeah, it is going to be Destination. Flash starting the 12 o'clock position in teal, Jangbi starting at the 6 o'clock position in yellow, and this very much statistically favors Protoss. Not saying that Flash isn't capable of winning this game, he's a very good player, but he's going up against Jangbi. If he's going up against some no-name scrub or even some mediocre Protoss, I would say, yeah, throw him out there, but going up against Jangbi, particularly on a map that favors Psystorm, I would not field a Terran player. I would field anyone else mostly in the top ranks. I mean, it's not like they don't have a plethora of really good players.
I gotta say, I love TVP on Destination. It's a lot of fun to watch because you can see it either way. I mean, if a Terran gets an early contain on the Protoss player and can keep him to 2 bases, the Protoss player is it's almost impossible for them to break out once that contain happens because you can contain them from both the front and the back and the side. I mean, it's just absurd. So, I mean, if Flash can pull something off early, he may be in a good position to take this match for his team. But if he plays the same game that we saw him play against Stork, there's no way he's going to take this match from Jang because, like you said, I think especially in the later game, it begins to favor Protoss more. You can get off some crazy flanks on this map. Sorry, I mean, just because as a Terran tries to push in the middle, or you can do guerrilla warfare attacks, Arbiters work great. There's so many options, and of course, Storm, the great equalizer of any matchup, and Jangbi is the best at it. So, really, if Flash wants to win this, it looks like he's going to have to do something early on, in my opinion. By the way, both these players are 1-1 in their lifetime facing each other so far. So this is going to be the tiebreaker of sorts, I guess, to see who comes out ahead in terms of their own little series. This is, I guess, a best-of-3 series for them as well. And it looks like we're going to see standard openings from both players. Typically, a Terran will do, again, a FD build on this. Protoss can do some early pressure, but they're probably better off going for a quick expansion themselves. But we'll have to see what Jangbi opts to do this time.
Yeah, it seems that neither player wants to opt for any kind of fast attack once again, and we'll see if that pattern follows true, like I expected with Flash and Stork, because both players know each other very well, and both players know the other one is very, very easily capable of fighting off any kind of cheese themselves. So looks like though, well, just as I say that, Jangbi is going to hide a pylon. This could just be for the purpose of hiding a pylon. That's oftentimes what happens. The Protoss will just put one to make, just put them in a random place just to make the Terran a little more paranoid, but we'll see what happens. Looks like we are going to see one Zealot out for Jangbi, and then he'll probably have to kill off that SCV or put something at that proxy location in order to advance his tech at all. Meanwhile, Flash has gone, like you were expecting, for a pretty standard opening. Probably gonna, I didn't get a chance to look at the gas, but probably gonna go for an FD afterwards. And I do think that Flash really needs to make sure he isn't just playing ultra expansionistic and hoping to draw Jangbi into some kind of stupid frontal attack to try to stop him, because that's what a lot of times Protoss do. They get frustrated and they go for some big attack, and then Flash just owns it in the face, and then he attacks it in like 5 different places and then wins the game. Or a lot of times the Protoss expands a lot themselves and doesn't attack, waits for Flash to come out, and Flash will come out with a ridiculous attack, just like his mascot is ridiculous, lying on the ground. What was he doing? Like, poking the air with a rose. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Looks like we are going to see an FD here.
I think that pylon's in place because one of the things that Terran have been doing a lot is vulture drop on this map. I think that pylon might be in anticipation of that. Honestly, because a good way that Terran kind of circumvent the fact that they're easily contained, easily contained to those two bases is they'll go drop in general to try to just get units out in the field. So I think that pylon's also in position for that reason. Ultimately, let's see if Flash decides to do that. I guess that is about. I'm not going to say that's the only option for Terran, but that is, I would say, the best option for Terran into the mid game. To go for those drops to at least keep your forces mobile. Jangbi in the meantime taking his own expansion, throwing out a couple troops just to be frustrating out in that front door. That's the other issue is actually he's going to attack the front door a little bit with that very late tank. I think that command center went down before that tank was being produced, but it looks like that tank is going to be on time. He needs to be really careful with it because he's really hugging the edge, and I do think Jangbi has enough shot. Oh, here he goes. Careful, Flash. Getting at least one hit, but it looks like he's going to be okay otherwise. But at least a little harassment on the front door. This is going to cost him some minerals, some time, some micromanagement, of course. And interestingly enough, what is Flash floating out? Did he decide to take that expansion out to the corner first? He's got some sort of building floating out there.
I don't know, actually. I can't see myself.
It's an engineering bay.
It could be.
I hope
but,
it's an engineering bay.
It's kind of odd to be doing that. Anyway, I don't know. It looks like, but Jangbi had the option to at least kind of slow down that expansion from going down, which is a great thing to do on a map like Destination because you can actually you can take out a couple of tanks as he try to get down that ridge. But it looks like Jangbi isn't going to do that. He's going to go all the way back to his base in preparation for maybe some vulture harass or something else. There's a robotics facility right now. We'll have to see if he decides to go for a quick reaver or a quick observer. It looks like turrets are already going down, so of course that would have to be a engineering bay at the second expansion of Flash, but I don't know. It's not going to really whatever Jangbi goes at this point. It looks like Flash is going to force it until at least he gets his second base well established here because of those turrets. And Flash again. I wonder if he's going to actually kind of wisen up after that last game that we watched him play and make more units early because it could be catastrophic if he does the same exact thing he did last time because it just didn't work well against him. And Jangbi doing a great response to that quick that FD build, getting his second expansion of his own. So he's going to make sure that he stays ahead economically. He may even decide to pick up a fourth base in the near future, but I don't know. It's a little early to tell yet. It looks like we are going to see Reavers. So, all right, Reaver harass from Jangbi. Let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is, he is playing pretty smart here against Flash, going for that double expand. But I think he needs to also make sure this Reaver gets the job done. And by getting the job done, I mean weaken Flash either by killing off some SCVs or killing off at least a good number of units. Otherwise, Flash is going to be able to be right down his throat there on the lower right. If Flash has knowledge of it, of course, that's a big if. If he assumes that Jangbi is going to expand at the bottom left, he might be slightly less willing to attack. Although, actually, no. Protoss generally do expand to the bridges. It's really pretty even with them. Zergs generally like the high ground one better. But anyway, though, it's still upon Jangbi to do more damage since he did decide to go for this tech variation here. And he's going to pick up a Zealot and looks like was one Reaver inside that shuttle. Flash should be pretty prepared since this is a fairly late Reaver harassment. It might be combined with an attack of some sort with it, possibly, but looks like Flash should be prepared. He's actually gotten, a number of tanks in his back. He's also got an armory up, so he's going to get that +1 attack going. And hopefully this time, like you were saying, he doesn't wait forever before before building some units.
Yeah, let's see what I'm really doubting that this Reaver harass is going to be all that effective, especially with all these tanks on the ground. That Vulture already in position. It looks like, and he's also got a couple turrets up. I'm not quite sure that Reaver is coming out really late. I'm not entirely.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to the purpose of it. Let me put it that way, because when you're sending out a Reaver that late, it just feels like it's a wasted resource investment. Jangbi is getting an additional base. Perhaps it's just to make sure that Flash. I kind of like it. The tactic actually this direction is just to make sure. Ooh, speed shuttle.
Speed.
So what this will do is this will, at the very least, keep those tanks back rather than allowing them to move out. But that's still going to allow these vultures to kind of roam free, planting some mines, and let's see if he can defend that bot. I didn't actually think about that until just this moment. The fact that there's just that little ramp at that 3 o'clock position, you can just line it with dragoons, and that makes it easier, or pylons for that matter. and it makes it really easy to block and makes it very easy to defend. Another advantage for Protoss here, but yeah, this Reaver Press, even with the speed shuttle, coming out so late, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to accomplish much except for keep Flash in his base, which I think he was planning on doing anyway, because it's very rare that you'll see a Terran move out on this map with just kind of the small corners against a Protoss player so quickly.
Yeah, you're right, for sure. And, I mean, it looks like he is trying to use that speed shuttle as best he can. He just attempted a mine drag there, but he wasn't able to pull it off. He was taken out way before that mine could do any damage to the tanks. I don't even know if the mine even fouled him. So it looks like Flash is beginning to push his way out, which means he's probably going to be taking a third base very shortly. I'm sure he's already building it. Actually, I do remember seeing that command center already being built. So, I mean, really, Jangbi's got to get another base up very shortly, again, to keep up. Finally, a forge going down. This is something that he's got to make sure he's got. He's got to have some cannons around his bases, at least some mineral patches, because those vultures can just eat probes alive. We see it all the time in PvT, and it's a great route to go if you're the Terran player, of course. And really, all you need is a couple of cannons. You'll be able to defend pretty well against a decent number of vultures, up to like 6 or so. As soon as he starts going over that, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But Jangbi appears to know this, and he may be doing that for upgrades as well. And it looks like he is going to be taking that 4th base at the 3 o'clock position in the very near future, but he's still macroing up himself in the meantime as well. So I'm very curious what tech he's going to go at this point. I'm guessing he's going to go for an Arbiter build, but it's a little early. Right now he's just content to play with the ground force game with a speed shuttle to back up, but he's certainly going to have to get some tech out if he's going to keep up with Flash as Flash establishes that 3rd base.
Yeah, I mean, Flash is well protected inside of his main, but Jangbi has done magical things with his speed shuttles with High Templar inside, but this time he's choosing to go Reavers. Interesting, getting another Reaver in, and this is a late-game kind of Reaver harassment / attack. The shuttle's getting badly damaged from Marines. Oh, nice. Nice Reaver Scarab there. But, I mean, right now, look how many turrets there are. That's not going to be able to do that much, that speed shuttle. I think he'd be better off actually going his standard High Templar and using the shuttle as a transport for the High Templar. He does that incredibly well. The Jangbi's quote-unquote magic carpet he uses for his magic-using units. Jangbi needs to be so careful, but he is careful. Oh, shuttle has 3 hits remaining. Goliath's out though, and the Goliath should be able to take care of the shuttle, but no, Jangbi gonna do a little bit more damage here at the new base. He wants the SCV so badly. Is he gonna get it? No, looks like it's gonna be a dud. Is it gonna be a dud? It's a dud. Too bad for Jangbi. All those efforts to not. And Jangbi, well, it doesn't really hurt him that much. Basically, it was a good show for all of us since that speed shuttle was kind of outmoded already. But I do hope to see some High Templar tech out pretty soon. Jangbi also behind on upgrades, as we saw the late Forge. So Flash already at +1. And Flash is doing that very dangerous thing to Protoss. He's going for that slow creeping push out of his base. And once that gets across the bridges, it's just so hard for the Protoss to deal with. Jangbi responding by going for 2 Stargates. Could we be seeing Arbiters or even possibly carriers? I don't know. Carriers have not been in fashion lately.
Yeah, this is kind of odd. He's definitely putting down the 2 starports, but he also has that Templar Archives alongside. Did he put down a fleet beacon as well? At the very least, Flash, he's going to have a lot of science vessels out in the air in anticipation. He did put down a fleet beacon, so yeah, he's going carriers, which I have not seen on this map. I think I've seen 2 games on this map in its entirety out of like the 75 that have been played, and one of them, yeah, was with Rise. And that's the only time I've seen carriers on this map, just because I really feel like Flash is actually in a great position, because he's going to have a pretty solid weapon upgrades, and I think as soon as he comsats this, which I think he's going to be able to, unless he's just getting a little bit complacent with that, which he can expend comsat. I think he had 2 starports even pumping these science vessels. I think I saw 2, might have just been 1, but he's going to have plenty of science vessels to allow that comsat. So I can't imagine him getting caught off guard. He's already got a pretty sizable Goliath force on the ground. So, and especially with the thing with going carriers against Goliaths is you need, first of all, kind of map artifacts to work with, but when you're having the larger, wow, a third one going down, is you need to push those Goliaths back, and with the way the troops are kind of lined up, I feel like it's going to be difficult to push those Goliaths away, even with the troops on the ground, just because of the troop funnels that are going to be across the map. So I'm not sure, even though Flash has gone very anti-Arbiter, that this carrier attack is going to be all that effective.
Yeah, he's already got +1 upgrades on his, well, +2 upgrades on his weapons and +1 armor, so Ah, man, I just don't see carriers working out here unless he just dedicates so many units to so many tanks. But wow, Jangbi is able to fool him a little bit, at least with the size of his ground force, which at the very least he needs in order to delay. Oh man, a fourth, and he's going for upgrades as well with a double cybernetics core. Man, this is going to be good, though, because if he can pull something wild off, I mean, Destination isn't a bad map for carriers by any means. I mean, as long as you stay out of the middle, you got plenty of ridges to deal with and ramps. And, I mean, it can be very difficult to get a good surround on carriers with Goliaths. And look at this. It looks like, man, wow, this is great. Jangbi actually going for a weak point in Flash's defense. Flash has a ton of units at the 9 o'clock, but no, Jangbi is going to peel back here. He's actually going to back off and not attack that area. Flash had a lot of units not over there to defend, though, and that could have been a good opportunity. But at the same time, with the amount of psi that he's investing into those carriers, he may want to wait for those carriers to come out before he actually opts to go in face-to-face with the Terran Metal Ball that's got 2-1 upgrades. And very shortly after, it's going to have even more. And, oh, man, look at all those mines taken out by a couple of Zealots. And, big battle coming over here in the left.
Oh,
EMP's going off. Same area, though. 3 EMPs go off. I don't know how this is going to work. There's the Psy Storms. Catching so many clumped up tanks. Oh, my God. What is Flash doing? He's got so many clumped up tanks. That's going to be horrible for him. And it's going to be much more difficult to push in now at this point that he's lost. He had to lose at least 8 tanks there. So once again, Jangbi doing what he's known best for with beautiful storms in the middle of the field. And now it looks like he's engaging in possibly the wrong time. Oh, I don't like this decision here. He's got to back off if he's going to survive this one. But again, he's probably just delaying for those carriers to come out, which they are out now. 3 carriers making their way over to the battle. We'll have to see if he's able to do much, though. It looks like Flash is scanned it as he's pumping out a ton of Goliaths. Man, the action is flowing.
Yeah, I mean, Jangbi is single-handedly trying to get a renaissance here, trying to get carriers back into the game, man. Jangbi, of course, was the one who used them successfully against Nada in the last MSL, where Nada got beaten out by Jangbi in a very close series at the end by mass carriers. And we'll see if he can pull the same feat off against Flash. Flash knows they're here. I mean, I think he's known for a while, actually. It's probably why he's pushed out. Jangbi's going to lose this bottom left, though. And this is the thing. Jangbi, this is the problem with carriers. You need them out as soon as you can to defend yourself. And certainly, while he did great storms, he wasn't able to take out the entire army with his ground army. Now he has nothing underneath his carriers. He needs to combine them with Dragoons. Dragoons to take care of the Goliaths, carriers to take care of the tanks. Carriers are not, completely, you can't just use them by themselves entirely. But Jangbi right now going to go for a counterattack. I think this is a very risky move, but I think it might be the only move he can make at this point to try to win the game. There's no way he can attack that Terran army on that tiny ground in the bottom left, and this is going to take a while for Flash to reinforce. But Jangbi, of course, needs to basically finish Flash off, get into his main base, or at least his natural, in order to come back from the losses here on the left side.
Wow, it looks like, yeah, this is going to be an elimination match, and just the reinforcements that are coming out of Flash's base should be enough to actually fight this attack force back. It looks like he brought all his Goliaths. I just dedicated 3 tanks. So wow, look at all those Goliaths. It just feels like it's, again, too much with those siege tanks behind. I think he's going to have, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is where you can see he can engage at that point with those siege tanks back there. He doesn't really have any opportunities to attack these Goliaths head on, because it's not like he has kind of open field to kind of push back in them and the carriers to kind of go up ahead. With those siege tanks behind, there's just too much of a troop funnel. That splash damage is just too powerful, and carriers just end up being ineffective as far as I would say a micro combination on the ground. Let's see if he can get something done and defend this 3 o'clock, but I just don't see it happening. Fortunately for him, those Goliaths are going to be a little bit thinned out. It's kind of weird that it works that way, actually, because never mind, I won't go into that, but it looks like one of these carriers is going to get picked off, a little bit too exposed. So there, one goes down. There's still more Goliaths down beneath, but at the very least, Jangbi should be able to pick off maybe a tank or 2, but it just feels like it's a downhill desperate fight. Another carrier getting taken out. A couple High Templar trying to come in to supplement, but there's going to be another big ball out in just a second for Flash, and it looks like what he's going to do is he's just going to counterattack straight down the middle, and Jangbi has nothing in position to really defend.
I don't know, man. I think Jangbi's actually holding his own right now. He's doing a pretty good job. He had the high ground. Flash wasn't a very smart person right there, attacking the high ground, losing almost all those units, finally backing off. And now he's forced to double back to his main base. And you can see that he can't actually attack down the middle because he has to reinforce against a counterattack that is inevitable coming from Jangbi. And he doesn't have that many units out on the field. He's got 2 control groups of units, it looks like. And Jangbi has a nice control. He's got a great unit composition here. He's got Zealots, he's got Goons, he's got Templar. I mean, this can be, and he's got all these ramps. And look at this. Now he's able to attack multiple fronts. There's Storm going off all over the place. This is going to be, again, one of the great equalizers that we can expect to see from him. It looks like he's going to lose both those High Templar, but it doesn't matter. I mean, look, he's losing. He's taking out the command centers. He just took out one before. It looks like he's about to take out the one in the natural. It goes down, and now Flash has no way to really reinforce very well here. Jangbi putting himself in a great position. And I think he's also attacking on the 9 o'clock position there with another group of, oh man, Storm going off. He's got Goons there. He's all over the place. I don't think that Flash is actually in a great position right now. He's got 2 bases mining. He's probably mined out of his main, so he may only have 1 base mining. And I mean, Jangbi's got like 3 or 4 bases. So Jangbi, I think, is in a great position to take this match right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about carrier battles is that they're really hard to call. I mean, I remember Nada versus Jangbi. It was very hard to call who was going to win at the end because it comes down to just how much damage have these carriers got on them. Can they manage to go all the way and pick off these factories right now, or is Flash going to be able to counterattack? Oh no, Flash is trapped! He's not going to be able to find out the minerals, but he has no command center. He probably thought like he had a command center to bring those SCVs with minerals there, but he doesn't. So most of his forces were trapped behind his main base. He has managed to take out a Nexus, some random Nexus somewhere, but he's losing all of his command centers, and this is going to be it, I think. I don't know how much Flash has in his bank, but that's going to be all he has. Right now, the command center is, wow, barely being able to be repaired by every single SCV. Looks like, though, Jangbi's fought off, but I don't know. Jangbi still has that critical mass of carriers, which is about 8 or 9 carriers. They can pretty much stop well, they can't stop any army, but they can certainly abuse the hell out of, the ridges and manage to pick off high numbers of units and command centers, importantly. And that's something that we often do see is just command center sniping. You get rid of production and you get rid of supply. And he's going to do it again, it looks like, in the natural.
What's crazy to me is when you have a big group of carriers, when you have just a big chunk of your supply just kind of out in the field like that, what usually happens is you really can't do multiple attacks on multiple fronts, whereas Terran players, well, they have to concentrate their Goliaths in general area, another carrier getting picked off right there. They can generally... Ooh, another big attack coming in, so I'm going to have to hold that thought. Looks like some Goliaths going to get pinned in by all these Dragoons, and they have no place to go. They're going to get wiped out. This command center is going to go down. And yeah, with that, I think Jangbi's going to win this game. What I was just about to say is carriers, they can only focus in one area at a time, really. They have to... but Jangbi has somehow, with just little attack trooping, with little Psystorm here, little couple Dragoons there, has managed to keep Flash off balance, do multiple attacks on multiple fronts, despite having a lot of his side caught up in carriers, kind of with this big mobile attack force out in the field. Flash should have been the one that was mobile attacking on multiple fronts, but Jangbi, just through beautiful map positioning and somehow sneaking his carriers along that back edge and getting them in position and just having those Goliaths chasing after them, never attacking, never being in position to really deal with them, just picking off command center by command center as he went. He's going to come out with this game, I think.
Yeah, definitely, man. The reason I actually screamed before is because he managed to pick off both the SCV building the command center and he took it out at the natural expansion. So now there are only 2 command centers in play for Flash right now. He's got both of them floating, so neither of them are mining. And now look at this, Jangbi in his first-person view. You can see he's going in for the kill. He's focusing on those tanks. That means that the rest of the units are going to be able to support them and take out all the Goliaths on the ground. Psystorm going off on the clumped-up units. Flash not learning from the last encounters, apparently, getting all caught up in all sorts of badness that is Psystorm. And those carriers, man, they have lost a lot of interceptors, but just doing a great job of keeping up the numbers overall. And it doesn't matter, even if he loses 1 or 2 here, he's got 4 bases. He's on 5 bases now. And Flash, you can see the frustration. He knows that he lost this game. He doesn't want to give it up because this is the ace match, but it looks like Jangbi is actually going to win this for Samsung Khan.
Yeah, this has got to hurt for Flash. I mean, the fact that, it is the ace match and he's lost 2 games now in this series. I mean, and he's supposed to be the rock of KTF. GG coming from Flash.
GG.
He really is supposed to be the rock of KTF, almost as much as
Not
anybody
the
is.
Rock.
Not The Rock. The Rock. Let's not talk about The Rock. I guess Jadong's the only one else who has to hold up his team as much as Flash does.
Lately,
Fireman
yeah.
Hero. Yeah, I mean, Jangbi is... Wow, what a great play by Jangbi. And I think you're right, Rise, that Flash did lose too many units when he was attacking. And, oh, man, just look at it. The machine, the Clockwork
Crushed.
Orange on his knees and just crushed after this brutal series where he lost against, admittedly, 2 great Protoss players who were both going to be probably getting drunk tonight talking about how they whooped Flash's butt. Stork and Jangbi. Double teaming Flash, poor Flash. And, I gotta say, you're right, Rise, the right side attack, I think, at the 3 o'clock was what was pivotal in the game. After that was downhill for Flash, but had Flash taken that out, he would have been able to possibly take out the other bottom right base, and then it might have been over for Jangbi, but I think it was just the positioning wasn't good enough for Flash, and that's how close these carrier versus Goliath battles usually get. They're very hard to call, and they're definitely exciting to watch.
Yeah, I definitely just expended too many units, I guess, at that 3 o'clock location. I was surprised he lost that fight, actually, but just that little funnel where he was trying to get up the ramp, he didn't have that concentrated unit grouping, he didn't have the tank supporting the Goliaths, and the Goliaths didn't have any mobility right there to go attack the carriers, and just there was a lot of options for the carriers to float around right there, so perhaps bad decision to engage along that 3 o'clock. It might have been better to maybe send the siege tanks first and end the Goliaths around, I'm not sure, or perhaps just to, instead of bothering at that location at all, to establish, I don't know, some degree of a contain up on the front door. But the other thing that was awesome is Jangbi just really did a great job of weaving those carriers in and out. Very nice micro to get them across areas that are very, very dangerous for them. Areas where I felt like they could easily have been picked off, where they couldn't basically rely on the support of Dragoons and Zelts underneath to clear the Goliaths out. And just because of the tanks underneath and kind of that ridgeway. And also with those Psy Storms, just because of the nature of this map, you're going to end up with units clumping up, just because you got to get them across those bridges. They just naturally kind of go in groups. So that Psy Storm was just killer, absolutely killer. And that was the exact reason I said at the beginning of this match, I don't like Flash versus specifically Jangbi on Destination. Destination, which is such a heavy map for Psy Storm.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think it favored Jangbi for sure. And Jangbi, man, he did not disappoint. He brought out his big guns. He made sure that he Psy-stormed when it was appropriate. If you watch, he actually engaged that group multiple times before he actually threw that Psy-storm. And then on top of that, Flash was a little cocky. I think he was so Goliath heavy, especially in the battle uphill. He just had nothing really to defend against the amount of goons and zealots and Templar just raining pain down on him. There was nothing that he could do because he didn't have that tank support, like you were saying. And once that grouping of units went down, man, that was it. It was all downhill from there. That was certainly the turning point. I don't know if Jangbi realized it or not, but that counterattack was pretty much all he needed to do to really take that game. If he didn't counterattack right then, I think that Flash could have won that match, to be honest, because Jangbi took out 2 command centers right away, and there was no way that Flash could keep up with his earlier production he had a ridiculous amount of factories for this time. He didn't in the last game, but he just couldn't keep up with it because now he had no economy to support it. So brilliant play by Jangbi, really making the most out of his units, using the map to his advantage. And Flash I think he was a little cocky, but one thing, I mean, Flash he played great, and you could see that even though he lost 2 games in a row to him, they were the 2 star players who played fantastic games. And so certainly not to take anything away from Flash's play either, just a couple of small mistakes that lost in the match.
Yeah, very good series, guys, and certainly enjoyed casting with you two. Hope you guys on YouTube enjoyed watching the series also. This was Samson Khan versus KTF, played about 2 weeks ago, and with that, I think we'll wrap up right here. GG's, and see you in the next commentary.